was the ghetto. A part of Monroe County where crime has become the norm and the lack of education has become acceptable. I am a high school dropout. I was a teen parent, and I was one who would hang out on the streets from AM to PM. But guess what? It wasn't government or more laws that stopped me from hurting or robbing someone. It was faith, morality, and family values that were allowed and taught in my home and by the community leaders of that time. You know what really gets me? Is that nearly 25 years later, and after a whole bunch of new laws, many within our society are still dealing with the exact issues that defeated many of my elementary cohorts. Issues like broken homes, failing schools, and useless posers who pretend to be community leaders, but really just ignore the community. They dictate instead of represent. They fail to encourage education and insist on handing out condoms in public schools to our youth as young as 11 years old and encourage our youth to defy their parents and their faith and ignore personal accountability as they live out life without any kind of responsibility. They criminalize those of us who follow the law and teach our youth about faith, morality, and family values. And now they want to demonize all of us who fight to protect the foundations of our country, our Constitution. Criminals don't care about registering their guns. Why would they? People with mental health issues, they're not going to go see a doctor now. What incentive do they have? You can't even feel blue and say, I want to go talk to somebody now out of the fear of being labeled and losing your rights. This legislation only makes our communities worse, as fewer law-abiding citizens will have the tools to protect themselves against the maniacs who have and use guns to hurt and rob others. But yet the president and the governor say they want reasonable gun control laws. Now listen, if any of you out here are educators, I encourage you to write the president and the governor and educate them on the word and the definition of what reasonable means. Assemblyman Thomas of Mattie said on the assembly floor during the debate prior to the vote of the SAFE Act that he is disappointed that all he hears in opposition to the SAFE Act is soft defense of constitutional rights. He also said he would be more than glad to champion a bill that bans all guns. Now these are leaders, elected leaders, and I use the word leaders loosely, who say New York is a progressive state with its elected leaders fighting for the rights of its citizens and equality for all. Somehow I don't believe that that's correct. As a matter of fact, these individuals also need to be educated on the meaning of equality and what it means to fight for the rights of all Americans. You know, maybe then they'll realize and understand what it means that the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. You know, initially, laws like this, they were used to keep guns out of the hands of the freed slaves, so that the Democrat Party could keep the black man down. These laws were enforced by the white-hooded KKK that also happened to be Democrats in that time. While in the present time, the requirements of the SAFE Act and that silly bill introduced by Felix Ortiz to buy an expensive insurance policy in order to own a gun will make the poor person less equal to the person who can afford it. Now, unfortunately, it's gotten to a point that unless we unite and hold accountable who decided to chip away at our constitutional rights and dictate instead of represent, the